waiting here. Let me know if you can hear me. If the music is loud enough, if you can hear the voice. Great. Thank you. I want to mention this is Friday the 13th today, right? Alright, make sure to drop your questions in the chat. You wanna clap? Spooky. All right. Join the chat and then we'll start. All right, so welcome to Livewired. I'm Eugene, and today is a big day. Finally, I've got my hands on the Behringer BMX that was just released. And a lot of people were asking about it, and shipping is pretty awful right now. Not many units around, so I was lucky to grab one. And yeah, we're gonna go through and take a precise look at this unit, see what it can do, who's it for, and the elephant in the room, of course, is how it compares to the LM drum, All right, that was released about a year ago, which I love. But many people they think that maybe it's just an LM drum in a different sci-fi look, and we'll find that out. All right, so yes, Mr. Rice Movement. They are available. You can order them or pre-order them, but the shipping is pretty slow right now. Yeah. So make sure to like and subscribe. I'm about to hit 1,000 subscribers very soon, and it would be cool if it would happen during this stream. All right. So, what is the Behringer BMX? Well, it's supposed to be a clone of the original Oberheim DMX, a vintage sampling drum machine from 1981, which was used by many famous artists, and probably every person living at the time heard it on the record Blue Monday by New Order. But also Run DMX and many hip-hop artists used it, and it had a huge impact on hip-hop culture and music. And of course, synth wave and pop music, Madonna, and everyone used it back in the day. And this was supposed to be like a challenger for the previously released Lindrum by George Lynn, of course, which was actually the first drum machine to feature pre-recorded samples that were stored on the EPROMs. And so this was the DMX as well. And it had these EPROM chips, and the sounds were stored on them. And the cool thing, you were able to swap the chips to change the sounds. And later on came the Lindrum 2 with 12-bit. Oh yeah, the original DMX was 8-bit. So the Lindrum 2, a LM drum with this tries to mimic, had 12 bits, and then came Roland's GR 808 and 909, and it kind of moved itself out of the light, but it was still used a lot. But there's an issue with this unit. It costed $2,900 back in the day, which is roughly like $9,000. So very expensive. And if you want to buy one now, well, good luck with that. So Behringer luckily made something that's supposed to sound and feel like the original unit, but for the fraction of the price. So I paid 370 euros for this. I'm not sure how much it's in the US, probably $400 or something. So for a physical drum machine with EPROMs and sampling possibility and an analog fader mixer, it's actually a very good price. But let's first listen to the sounds, right? I already made a video. And by the way, these sounds already are mixed right now in my DAW over compressor and equalizer and I think tape machine, and I got some reverbs, and I also connected the snare output. And this drum machine features 8 analog outputs, right? I connected this as well to have this 80s gated reverb. Wait. Hear that? That's where it's coming from. And yeah, so these are the stock sounds of the actual DMX. However, what I noticed is that the toms are not necessarily the sounds from DMX. I listened to some samples and something is off there. So, but you also have different samples. You can switch them, by the way. So for example, if we had kick here, you can go and switch the sample to, so I got 3 kicks here in this DMX bang, right? Same thing with snare. Okay, and on it goes. And there's one thing that they did, like in the old machine, it has more pads. That's what you see. There's less pads on the LM drum. So this is the most obvious difference. And it's basically playing the same sample but a different velocity. So down here it's the loudest one, and then goes middle velocity, and then you know, the most silent note. This was made for like humanizing features, so you can like have some grooves, like ghost notes. The same is for the snare, but right. Then you got your open hi-hat, closed hi-hat. Right, and then you got with the toms, and you actually have 2 tom samples loaded on here, but they are pitched. So here you do not have the velocity change, which is good, but you have the pitch change. So you can actually make some cool tom breaks, right? Tom fills. Let me change up the other sample. So the stock one is large tom and small tom, and they sound nothing like the original, but the other sample, which is electric tom, sounds more similar to that. So and then you can also pitch them down and up and have like 6 toms, which is cool. Now you got your ride, the crash, tambourines, the rim shot. Yes, Mr. Rice Movement. The question is, if can you sample into those slots as well? Exactly. So I will show you that later if you want. You've got your different slots here for patterns and songs and banks. And in this case, these are banks. So what I'm just playing is one bank, and you can switch it with the bank button. I need to look up where it is because I'm more used to my LM drum, and they're slightly all over the place here. So here's the bang, and you can, if you hit the bang, then you can select the bank number, excuse me, like this. So this is BX, maybe it's BMX, I don't know what it is, but then right, hit bank again, hit the next one, which is R2, and then play this. All right, and on we go. We've got another one, which is R5. Very 80s. Okay, the next bang is here, number 5. It's Layton. Oh, excuse me. Gotta switch. Right. And then we've got bank 6, which is electro. Oh, that sounds. then on Bang 7, you've got the African sound. Excuse me. Bang, and we gotta do 7 and pads. And nothing happening. Why? Because I did something wrong. Yeah, I selected the wrong bang. I selected an empty bang. Go back to the Bang 7 now. Pads. So these are the stock bangs, and if you choose the bang, if you choose bang 8, then basically got all samples in there, and you can mix your drum kit together here if you wish. All right. Again, 8 and pads. Yeah. All right, there's another question. Thing is this here. Does that channel have the same feature as a LED drum, that it random start point? I'm not sure about the random start point on the LM drum, to be honest. Can you specify, please? But most likely, from what I was testing in these days, it can do everything that a LM drum can do. So I'm not sure about the random start point. Maybe you mean something like the step. I'm not sure. Please specify what you're talking about. So what else here? We've got 8 channels, 8 mixers. So this is 8 mixer faders. So you actually had a built-in mixer here. You can make your pannings, right? You can pan your instrument. Okay, excuse me, I'm using the wrong channel here. Right. The snare is currently not panned because I'm outputting this from the single snare channel for the effect. And so we've got your faders for the volume, the pans left and right. And then, and this is the new thing, that is not featured on the LM drum, is that you have these assignable voice control knobs here. So these are not like your regular rotary knobs, but they're actually more like the data control knob, but without the push function, meaning that you can actually assign any feature. Let me switch to other camera so you can see the BMX better. All right. So you can select a feature. Say we have our kick drum here, and as of now it selects the sample, right? But I can, for example, control the distortion by this, right? Or I can control the tuning. If I switch the tune here with the arrows, then yeah, some industrial. Nice. So on the LM drum, you've got these rotary knobs, which are I think 7, and 6 of them are actually just tuning the pitch. They're changing the pitch of some of the samples. And 1 is for the hi-hat decay. You don't have the hi-hat decay here, but you could actually, for example, control your length of your sample, like on the hi-hat, with this knob, right? If you wish to. Or you could switch up the play mode. So, for example, you can make it reverse. Right. or loop, reverse loop or regular loop, right? So this is actually cool. So this has the performing musician in mind, which is my guess. And I do hope that with upcoming firmware updates, they maybe even more add some more interesting features. So with LM Drum, you really have like only the possibility to change the pitch with this button. Everything else you are doing with the data control knob. So everything you do here, you of course can do on the LM Drum, but using only one data control knob. And I got used to it and it's cool. But if you've got your live setup that, you know, you prepare for like, I don't know, a techno or a synth wave or a gothic jam or whatever, you assign the parameters you want to use during your live set, right? And then you rotate them as you like. So that's not bad. That's really cool, actually. And this is something that stands out, right? It's different than the LM Drum. Now, what else? So please let me know, guys and girls, does anybody own actually an LM Drum or the BMX already? Or should I really go through all the features it has? Because, you know, if you don't know yourself around with LM Drum, then obviously you don't know much about the BMX. But if you own an LM Drum and are experienced with this, then you kind of won't have much of a learning curve. But you know, you don't have an actually steep learning curve with LM Drum as well. But if you know it, you know the BMX, you can get started with it pretty fast. All right, I think there's a question. That's the bitrate. And all the filters are different for each channel too. Not sure about the filters. The filters are actually in the master section. But maybe you know something I don't. So the bitrate, even the Bitcrusher, yeah, but unfortunately you cannot control the Bitcrusher from here. And as I already mentioned earlier, this machine is 8 and 12-bit, so the samples are all like 8-bit, but not actually 12-bit as well. But you can reduce this to 8-bit or even to 1-bit. So I'll show you what it does. So if you take the kick drum here and we go to menu and we select our Bitcrusher here, then you see all the voices, they are set to 12-bit, right? And if you hit one of the samples, you can reduce this. Now, behold me rotating the knob, 11-bit, 10-bit, 9, 8-bit. You hear that aliasing? Or aliasing? Or what's it spelled? Oh, I was changing the pitch. And this is how it introduces weird artifacts as I reduce the pitch by 2 octaves. Yeah, now it's fun. 4-bit. Okay, let's do this for snare as well. We have some Mario tune in no time. Alright, but we can even go below that actually. You can go to 4-bit, 3-bit, 2-bit, and 1-bit. Alright? And so you can actually go and make this lo-fi game music or industrial stuff. This will work pretty well, but unfortunately you cannot control this from here, and this is the same on the LM Drum. All right, love it for the melodics and bass samples. The pitch is achieved by changing the bit rate for each sample. Yeah, they are separate, so they are actually separate chips per channel. That's right. And if you change the pitch, I think it reduces the bit resolution as well. Yeah, but you can also keep the pitch and still bit crush it, right? So where were I? Yeah, for melodics, absolutely. This is not just a drum machine, right? This is actually a sampler. You can load the samples from your computer over Synthstripe software, which is currently not supporting the BMX by now. So I hope that Behringer will release the new firmware and the support for the Synthstripe software, so you can use this sample librarian just as you do with a LM drum to load your own banks and kits and samples. But what I like even more is the actual sampling input over here, right? Which is called input rec. And if you know my channel, you know that I did some sampling videos on the LM drum. I sampled from vinyl, sampled from smartphone, and I even recorded a bass guitar into this. So you can actually handle melodic samples and make a track. And I also made a tutorial on this with the LM drum, but it will work exactly the same with this unit, right? So you can actually play with the melodics and stuff, right? It does, yes. So the question is if it's not chopping the samples. Yes, it does chop the samples. So you will record, say, a beat, and then you can absolutely chop, like you would do with an old school MPC. You can chop your beats by, start and length of, you know what? Let me just show it how it's done. It's easier to show this rather than talk about it. Probably gonna need another cable here. Give me a sec. All right, so what I just did is I connected, let me switch to another cam, just so you know what I did. I connected the output of the LM drum to the rack in of the BMX. And what you do now, let's go to a new song. It has 2 songs, by the way, and full of patterns. They have really 24 patterns per song, which is more than on the LM drum. And some of the patterns are really cool as well. So yeah, switching to the song mode here, and then select the song. Okay, let me switch back to the close-up camera for the BMX. So I selected song 3, and no, let me pick song 4 because I might have stored something on the song 4. And then you select pattern and then go to pattern 1, right? Let's check if it's playing anything. It doesn't play anything, so nothing is in there. And then we hit sample and let's increase the recording input and then say I want to play a beat on the LM drum. And let me select something interesting. Pattern here. So now you hear. No, let's pick something else like this. So why is the record in not showing anything? So I would actually expect this to receive some signal here. Maybe it's wrong. Yeah, because I connected this to the phone's output. It doesn't use a card memory, unfortunately, and the memory is quite limited. I think you're like about 4 minutes, maybe more. It's not very much. So, all right, now I just connected the cable to the phone's output instead of the rec input because I didn't see it. So here, if I hit play, all right, you see it records something. Okay, so let's adjust the record input so it doesn't overdrive too much. But there's an issue. If you do it too quiet, you cannot actually increase the volume of the sample. So, you know, I'll overdrive it slightly. I don't care. Sounds okay. Okay, so it says memory 14 minutes and 55 seconds. Excuse me. It's not 4, it's 14. 14 minutes, or almost 15 minutes. That's all right. You can do some tracks with that, yeah. All right, so now I hit stop, and then as on an MPC, you can actually make arm record, which means that you hit yes. And as soon as it's armed, the recording of the sample will begin as soon as the signal here reaches the threshold that is set here. I'm not sure if you can do that. If you can switch the record input, yeah, you can adjust the record input level with the data control knob. And now let's play. And then hit stop. Oh, excuse me, hit yes. Okay, and now we've got ourselves a beat here, which we can actually play by hitting tap and yes. Let me do that like this. There you go. Okay, and now if I want to chop it up, I will do as follows. So we have here your yes for save. No, excuse me, you have trim and start at the end. So you can scroll with the arrows. And for example, I want to just store the kick drum. So what I will do, I will hit the trim end, and then I'm gonna rotate the data control knob like this. I think there was a shortcut how to do it faster, but I forgot. So I'm doing this like this. Fortunately, the loop is not too long. And now you see I'm reaching the very first sample. So I will go to the end of that sample, right? And you see that here that this is selected. So if I hit yes, it will trim it. Now I've got only my kick drum, and I can preview that, right? By hitting yes, tapping yes. Got my bass drum, and now I can go hit yes to save, and then I can give it a name. And here's a tip from me here. If you hold the tab button, then you see the whole alphabet, and then you can scroll through the letters, which is much faster than naming it manually. So there's also the commands are written here down. So we want first to remove all the characters we don't want to have there, which is made by I think it was tap and no. Yeah, tap and no. Exactly. So now, and then we can call it like something like kick, right? Kick. Like this, like that. All right, and kick, and you can insert in space as well, and then call it kick. I'll say 1, whatever. And then you hit yes to save, right? And now you can actually assign the sample to the pad. And I'm not sure what trig pad is. Okay, let's put it over here. Okay, good. Hopefully that worked. Let's check this. Pads. Exactly. So as you see, it's stored over here, but that's not over. Since I didn't save or confirm, I can go back by hitting discard, which is tap and no. Oh, god damn it. I shouldn't have done that. If I wouldn't do this, then I will actually display the whole loop here. And then you can chop the next sample and the next sample. So I think you've got the idea, right? So you can make a melodic sample, you can make some bass, bass steps or whatnot, and then put it to the trigger, to the channel you want to. And the cool thing is, of course, for example, if you would have a bass drum here, a bass stab and not an actual bass drum, you could switch to piano mode, which is made by, I think, tap and pads. Right, and then you've got your keyboard mode, and you can play this. Right, so if you would have like a synth sample or melodic sample, you could actually play a melody with it. Now, it will introduce some artifacts, and it will sound not very hi-fi, to say the least, but it will work, you know, so this will actually work. Again, let's leave the piano mode, and you don't need to note everything here. I already made a comprehensive tutorial on sampling with this machine, rather from other drum machines or from vinyl records or from other things. So you just look them up, and there's a step-by-step manual tutorial that will show you how to do that. Then, well, obviously you've got your pads and your mixer, and you see that it has less channels. It has only 8 channels, and the Behringer LM drum has actually 15 channels plus a click channel, right? Well, click channel is not very usable, but you have much more channels on the LM drum. And just as on the BMX, it has all of your channels has its own output. So here we've got just 8 outputs, and on the LM drum you've got 15, which is of course much more. And the thing is that these outputs are not, so they are like direct outputs from the chip, so to say. So the faders, the pannings, and the settings like, you know, tuning or whatever will not, or tuning maybe, but the other stuff like here, the filters and the compressor, or wave designer as they call it, will not work, right? You'll get just straight the sample out, and then you can process it, of course, in your DAW on a mixer, on a mixing console. All right. So, intro playing music says I have the LM drum. To be honest, I haven't started using it, building modules for my case, but I hope to use it very soon. Yeah, okay, so my condolences that you're in the modular hell. I mean, probably it's fun, but for me it's something that holds me off from making music, but more makes me use my technical side of the brain, whatever that is, if I have one. So modular is not for me really, but if you enjoy that, why not? So again, now a time stretch option. No, it doesn't have a time stretch option, but if you adjust the pitch, then it will slow down, or, you know, if you raise the pitch, obviously it will speed up. So just the way that it worked back in the 80s in the first MPCs. So you actually can do this, and you can also look it up in my tutorial. I show how I do this, so you can kind of adjust it to the drum beat. So this would work, but it will change the pitch as well. So, as I said, drum machine, sampler, but there's also a performance instrument, so to say. And what do I mean? Well, let me show you. For example, we'll switch back to our song 1 and hit pattern, let's say 3, by the way, from the Blue Monday. And let's play that. So, first thing you can do with this, most obvious, is the autofill function. As soon as you hit autofill, all the pads light up, meaning that you can select any pattern, right, to be played next as a fill, and then jump back to your original pattern. So let me hit this here. Okay. So this is the performance feature number 1. Then you get the note repeat. And let me first select a more friendly pattern with a closed hi-hat maybe. And you'll know what I mean. No? Okay. Let me raise the hi-hat level again. By the way, the hi-hat level is extremely high here on this drum machine, much higher than the LM drum. And I wouldn't advise to never to run it on the max, but now I will for the demonstration purposes. So we hit note repeat, and then we see here this digits 1, 2, 4, and 8, and we can select them with the arrow keys. And now let me select the hi-hat here. You select the instruments by this little knob, exactly as on the LM drum. And if I hold it now, no, excuse me, if I hold the trigger, it will trigger, you see that, 2, or makes a note repeat, right? Now the fun thing, again, is here, I could go and say that I will change the pitch here with this control knob, I will change the pitch, right, like this. You see the pitch changing, and now, if I go back to note repeat, and I hit trigger, hit trigger here, pads, trigger, and note repeat, right, and then we can change the pitch. Okay, it doesn't work like this. Okay, so for whatever reason it doesn't work like that. On the LM drum you have the dedicated pitch knobs, and they can actually then create a wall of sound with it and then change the pitch, which is kind of really cool for the performances. So this probably will start working later, but doesn't work with the original, with the current firmware. And you cannot update it right now because, as I said, they didn't implement this synth drive support, and there are already some issues that I discovered, and one of them being also connected to these assignable voice control knobs, and I'll show you what I mean. For example, if you want to switch the sample here, right, when you're rotating this, sometimes it jumps back or skips. You see the glitches? So I'm turning it actually clockwise, but it jumps back, which is really not cool. Not cool at all. So maybe it's, of course, my unit being defective, maybe. But maybe also it's just the 0.10 firmware that is not really good yet. So I do hope that they will actually release a new firmware soon and actually start to support the unit. They did that pretty fast on the LM drum. So the day that I received the LM drum, it was already supported, and I could open it up in the SynthDrive software. And by the way, if you don't own this, SynthDrive software is kind of a global software by Behringer to control all of their gear, all of their synthesizers and drum machines and whatnot. You connect it over USB to your computer, then you start the SynthDrive software, and as soon as it's connected, the SynthDrive software will see the unit, and then you get started, and then you can change the settings and load samples to it and other stuff. Rice Movement says, so you can't use the filters on the samples. What the difference between the channels or the lamp versa that I didn't really understand. What the difference between the channels? Well, there are basically less channels, and you actually can assign filters. I will cover this in a second. You can actually select some voices, right, that will be assigned by a filter, will be affected by the filter, and others that not. But you can only do this then for all the stuff you selected. So if you have two samples selected, you don't have different filter controls. So you cannot filter your kick drum and then make an automation on your snare. You can only automate filter steps, automate the steps from your pattern. You know, since we're performing and the filter is a part of it, let me show you how it's done. So if you hit play again, you can activate the filter, but you know, nothing happens here. And why so? Because first you need to assign your voices via the send button. So for example, I want to filter out the kick drum and the snare. No, the snare is not a good example here. Let me just disconnect it for now. Okay, and the snare. So now the filter is on and you have your cutoff. Okay, so the rest of it is not affected. If I want to affect the whole kit, right, then I select any channel, every channel. All right. And there's a little bit more to it. You can also switch to high pass filter mode, which is also cool for your techno jams, right? And there's also one secret I can show you, only for you here today. Go back. So you just move the cutoff all the way up, so you actually do not remove any frequencies, but then you can adjust the resonance to increase the high-end sizzle. Let me show you what I mean. Hit play. So here the high end becomes even really harsh here, but it gets much more prominent. Some of the kits on the lamp drum are pretty dull, and this is a real saver. It makes it pop out much more because you don't really have an equalizer here, but the only possibility to equalize is actually to use either the pitch, right, or to use the filter. And it has kind of a compressor which has an attack and sustain, and which can make this sound slightly better sometimes, right? Slightly more processed. Let's take a listen to this. Let's turn off the filter. So now both attack and sustain are at the lowest point, and let me increase it, and you'll hear what happens. This will add some punch. This is not very prominent because it's running over a fixed chain, but when it's running on your own, on its own, then you can hear it better. So let me deactivate the plugins so you can actually understand what I mean. Okay. All right. So this is how it sounds without being processed. Don't be scared. Oh yeah, and that's not it. Now it's not being processed at all. And now let me increase the attack. Hear the pitch. And the sustain makes this drums to stand out even more. Kind of makes the sound slightly better. let me activate anything else. So now back with the channel strip, adding the bus compressor, adding equalizer, and back with the tape. Okay. So this is how it works. And by the way, you can also actually automate the filter. Wait a sec, there are more questions. Been recording for over 30 years. Says Intraplane Music Modular is something I have been using for 2 years. It's a way to get back to my roots of using hardware hands-on. I have used VSTs for some time, too long. Okay, so now you're kind of embracing the other side. Well, good luck with that if you have fun and make some cool music with that. You know, why not? The workflow looks more refined on the DMX. The screen looks very similar to the LEM drum. So the workflow is exactly the same as on the LEM drum. There's, from what I saw until now, it's exactly the same. Besides this assignable voice controls, it's basically identical. The display is also identical. All the menu, all of this is identical. Let me switch now, because this is one of our important parts of this stream, is to actually find out if this is a monstrous DMX killer or an LM drum clone. And I think there's truth to both of that. If you see the pads, right, they're exactly the same. All the knobs and buttons are exactly the same. The rotary knobs, the data control knob. The filter section is exactly the same. The wave designer section is exactly the same. You've got here extra separate phone volume. On the LM drum, it's just the master, which controls both, which never bothered me. But you have here separate phone's output volume control. You've got the recording input here, and the metronome level you set here on the LM drum, and on the BMX, and here with the fader on the LM drum. So technically, both of them have it. Now, also this tab and tempo knob, exactly the same. These knobs, these buttons here, MIDI, USB, sync, RAND, exactly all of the 16, I think it's 16 buttons are exactly the same. You've got these exactly same arrows. Under your screen, you've got your menu and yes and no's, exactly the same. You've got your transport with record, stop, play, identical, right? And then you also have got your length and sample and bank, quantize, arrows, and mute and solo, exactly identical, right? So also the voice selection is the same here on with these knobs. And yeah, so you see almost everything is identical. I like the looks of this quite more. It's more of this 80s sci-fi stuff, which I absolutely love. So it kind of, speaks more to me maybe, but this is like more of a 70s style design, more old school. It's still great. I mean, I loved it as I received it. And if you're into Lindrum, and I am, then it's something definitely for you. I grew up with the Lindrum sample, so for me it was like a no-brainer. I saw that they're releasing the LEM drum. I had to buy it, and I still have it after 1 year. And there we come to the part with the quality. Let's talk about the build quality. Both of them are plastic, so they're identical in quality of a build quality. However, I find these fader caps on the BMX much cheaper, and they don't feel very great. And I would replace them, maybe at least the caps, right? And the faders on the LEM drum are smaller, but kind of they look more less cheap, let's say. Let's put it this way, less cheap. And the other thing that I had is this fader at the beginning. It was this fader, and it still does it. It's getting slightly stuck, so something is in the way. This is probably just my unit, but again, I didn't have any issues with the LM drum. And some people at YouTube or also some of my subscribers told that they have actually problems with their LM drums and had to get them replaced. I didn't, and I used it for over a year by now. I think a year and 2 months. Did extremely many videos on it, tutorials, many live streams, live jams. So I was using it. I wasn't like breaking this stuff, but I was using it a lot, and nothing broke until now. So I suggest this will be probably the same quality. You might have bad luck and get a bad device, but you can then get it replaced. Will it live for like 3-4 years? I don't know, but if my LM drum dies, I will most likely buy another one. With the BMX, not sure. I'm not even sure that I will keep it until now, to be honest. Simply because the Behringer told that like they are completely different EPROMs and they sound absolutely differently, and this is not the case from my point of view right now, and I will show you later why and how different they are. Okay, so are there any other questions? Okay, until now there's no other questions, so I will go on. The workflow is cool with both of them. It has a really good song modes where you can change the patterns and create the songs actually very fast. Let me show it. How you can do this with the BMX. So go to song mode and let's select our song. I will not be programming patterns. Well, why not? Actually, let me go ahead and go to the song 3. Now go to song 5 and select pattern 1. Okay, nothing's there. So how do you actually make a pattern here? Pretty simple. You go to the step mode, and now you see here 4 buttons. This is for because you have up to 64 steps in your pattern, and as of now it's set to 16, but you can increase it with a length knob. For example, like this, hit the data control knob and rotate it up to say 32 for now. Okay, it says 48. Wow, so 32, right? And now we can switch, so you have actually like 32 steps to control. So now I will select my bass drum and hit stay in a step mode, and now as I selected my bass drum, I will just hit the pads, but it won't store. So if I hit play, they're going away. And the key here is to push the record button, and now it will stay. So let's play. Now it plays like 16 steps, but doesn't play the next one. So we just switch to the next step bank, and there we go. Okay, let's maybe change up that terrible sample. I want to switch the bang. We'll go into bang and okay, let's stay here. Okay, go back and I'll switch up the sample of the. Okay, so got our kick drum going. Now we switch to the snare. All right, and you have different velocities. So if you want to change the velocity here, like on the second snare at the end of the second, excuse me, let's put it on the second part. I want to decrease the velocity. I just hit it again, and then it's played quieter. If I hit even one more time, then it's kind of almost a ghost note. And that's the same on the LM drum, by the way. Right. Let's make more use of it on the hi-hat. Let's switch to the hi-hat. And on the hi-hat you have both closed and open. So let's check out what is what. Okay, so when it's lighting, it's open hi-hat. And now okay. All right, let's do some more humanizing stuff here. Okay. So now we've got ourselves a really simple beat going right now. And now, if I wanna add some life to it, I could, for example, add some swing. And yes, it has swing, just like your MPC. For this, you have to rotate your, let me switch back to the zoom camera here. And so you rotate the tempo, hold the tab button and rotate the tempo knob until you see the icon that looks like this. It says, it's 2 notes and then P and then 050. And this is your swing rate. And then you just rotate the tempo knob to adjust your swing. And you can go 25 steps up or 25 steps down. Let's get all the way up. Sounds weird, but maybe I'm doing something wrong, because regularly you hear it much more. Maybe it's because it syncs to the computer right now, but so I cannot hear the swing really changing for whatever reason, but normally it works. Maybe it's me. All right. And what you also can do, you can automate the filter actually. So if I would want to automate this, I stay in the record mode, and then I will just use the cutoff. All right. It actually should have recorded the filter, and we can check this out in the filter menu right here. Okay, it didn't change that, but maybe if we record this from here. It overrides this. It's probably me, but normally it will work. So it will actually store a filter value per step. I'm not sure why it's not working right now. It's due to demonstration effect, or just me missing something. But that's all right. You can do that, trust me. And I also got a tutorial on this, so everything that I'm showing you right now, you can look up with the LM drum videos, and 95% of the stuff that is being explained in my tutorials for the LM drum will work just as well for the BMX. So you don't have to wait until I make all the BMX tutorial videos, which I will do eventually. I think one will come up come out next Monday about this 101, creating your steps, your beats. And the next one will be about creating song modes, basically what I'm doing right now. So you don't have to wait on that. If you already received your BMX, then you can just watch the my LM drum tutorial videos. That will be just as good and will work. So we've got our first pattern here. So now let's go, and now you can do the following thing. But first, let's save the pattern and hit save. And now let's copy the pattern to the second pattern, so we don't have to program it from scratch, right? So we hit copy, select the pattern we want to, and then hit I think copy to confirm the source, and then we select the destination and hit copy again. And now if I will switch the pattern to, you see I just copied it. Ah, you hear that? The little ass just did that filter. Maybe, I'm guessing, no, I don't want to know. Anyway, so you hear the hi-hat save the filter automation for whatever reason. Maybe it's due to the settings of the filter, and you can look them up in the preference. So the filter on is global and filter automation is pattern. So it's not step, whatever, I don't care. So we've got ourselves the second pattern, and now let's add changes as well. So we go back to so you go back to step, and let's add some rides here and hit record, otherwise it won't store that. So the first is obviously crash, but we can still use that as well. Okay, and on the second step we will do the same. Okay, and then we go select the clap and add some claps at the end. Alright, you can pan the clap as well if you want. And then we'll let us also add, no, let's keep it this way. We don't want to waste too much time on that, but now we've got ourselves two patterns. I think they're being saved, but I'm still kind of hitting the save just to make sure that nothing goes away. Now I will go back to pattern, select the pattern 3. Yeah, you have, maybe you're right. Hey, well done, Dearborn. Happy to see you again. Thanks for coming back. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It was just me mixing stuff up. But we're now on our third pattern, and let's make a break from this pattern. And this has now 16 steps, which is okay. I don't need more than that right now. And we will make an epic break. We'll make an epic break here. So we will select the snare and record, of course, and then we gotta go to step mode first. Now here we switch to the first 16 steps and make 4 snares. All right, and then let's go to the toms like that. Okay, and then we'll add another 3 toms here, but we will change the pitch. Yeah, okay, I would rather wish it the other way around. Okay, and then it's the next toms here. Okay. And maybe let's add some, I don't know, shaker, because why not? Okay, So now we've got ourselves a fill. Now let's hit save and store our pattern again, hit save. And now we want to look what we have. We go back to patterns, but not in record mode. I'll show it in a minute. So we got our regular pattern, right? We just programmed with a filter automation. Then we've got our second pattern with the rides and with the claps at the end. All right, and then we've got our fill pattern. So if you were watching carefully, then you might know that we can use the autofill function like that. And we play, like this. Play, hit autofill, and then it will automatically put the break at the end, right? Very cool for performance, but not for the song mode. So now we've got like three patterns, and this is probably too little for a whole song, but for the demonstration purpose, this will be more than sufficient. So what we are doing now is we are going to the record. And now you can actually edit your song. So for example, I want to begin with this awesome genius fill. So I'll hit the data control knob and then select the third pattern, right? And then I will begin with my main beat. So I hit it again and I select the first pattern. But then I don't want it just to play one time. I want it to play, say, 4 times. So I hit the length button again. And here I adjust the number of repetitions here, right? So I will make 3 of them. And on the 4th, let's leave it. And on the 4th, I will, not on the 4th, but on the next step, I will add in another fill. Like this. Right. And then you just don't have to switch it up. You can just rotate the knobs and then scroll, so you don't have to save it. This is just a faster way. So here I'm going now to trigger the pattern 2, and I would want it to play 4 times as well, or let's 2 times, right? Go back. Now I want to select my main beat again, and I want it to play 3 times again. And I want, oops. Now I'm going to add another fill here. And then I would put my second pattern again and play it 2 times. And so on. I would be able to make a bridge as well. And then I just have my song. Pretty fast. There are much more expensive units, groove boxes, where chaining patterns at the PIT. P-A-I-T. B-I-A-T. You know what I mean. But here it really is just as simple as that. And then you have this song mode. So you can make it repeat itself all the time. In the loop mode. I'm not sure what the hold mode is about, but when stop, the song will stop after you're done, after the song is over. So let us hit save first, and we want to save a song, so we'll hit the song, and we will save it. I think it was song 5, right? And then hit save to confirm. And now you want to change your playback mode by hitting tap and play. And now it's supposed not to play pattern, but to play the whole song. Excuse me. Play, come on. Yeah, like this. Hit the play again, and then it will play actually the whole song. You see? Oh, I think. The video is. I need to check what's up with the camera here. Excuse me for the technical issues, but oh yeah. For whatever reason, my camera just stopped filming mid-stream. I love it. By the way, during this forced break, hit like and subscribe, please. I want to reach 1,000 followers. That would be really cool. And now I need to rotate that. Okay, I think this is better. The picture's back. And Radan Dearborn said that hold will keep playing the last pattern. Thanks, mate. I always love how our members of the community here know stuff. This is so great. All right, so as you see now, we play the song. It starts with a fill, and then it goes on with the first pattern. Right, it will play 3 times, and then we'll switch to the fill again, and then we'll go to the second pattern, and so on. And we basically just had a song here, right? So this is really fast. I would hit like if I were you for this cool feature. All right, so by the way, if you have any questions, yeah, let me know. And I'll think about what I should show you. So watch the note repeat and autofill modes. We checked out the filter and the wave designer. The swing is, I don't know what the hell is with the swing, but let me first go back to the pattern mode. I don't want it. All right. Turn off the filter for now. And now I want to change the swing. Oh, this is definitely the swing, but yeah, now it's swinging slightly more. Okay. So that's how you can swing. We also have like probability and flam, and you can also add to that, and I won't be showing that. That's too detailed, but this is basically, again, exactly the same as on the LM drum. Now, the big question, and that was something that Behringer told us, is that it's not an LM drum in a different color. They really said that it's not, and no way. And these EPROMs are entirely different. They're entirely different from everything you heard before. And this is not an LM drum at all. So I was wondering, I do not want to open the unit and check if these are really exactly the same things here inside. But I just downloaded, well, actually found some DMX original samples on my drive, and I loaded them into LM drum. Now let me know if you want to hear them, just to make sure. Let me know that, please. And I will will switch to the song that I was working on. I think it was somewhere here. Let me check this. Oh yeah. Alright, so this is the same pattern that we've got on our song. I still have to readjust because the layout is, these are the same buttons, but the layout is different. So I have to look stuff up. So we go to song 1 and we go to the pattern. I think it was pattern 4. No, it was pattern 3. So now let me remove the delays and overdrive, and then also set the same plugin of the channel strip to the LM drum, otherwise it's just too quiet. Okay, now let's take a listen to that. Okay, now it's LM drum, BMX. BMX, LM drum. Yeah, something's up with the hi-hat, but I could probably adjust that if I select the hi-hat and check out the tuning. Again, BMX, LM drum. Do you hear a lot of difference? Do you hear that this is kind of utterly different drum machine with absolutely differently sounding samples? Do you hear that? Sure you do. I don't. To be honest, I don't hear this at all. There is a slight difference, but this is due to the fact that I'm not using the samples that were loaded into here in this drum machine, but I took other DMX samples, right? And still they sound pretty similar to my ear. I'm not an audiophile, maybe I don't hear all the nuance. I hear some slight difference, but in a blind test, if you will put me with my eyes bound and I will play me the one and the other, I won't be able to tell which is which, right? And I guess as soon as you will be able to connect the BMX to the SynthDrive software and load samples into that, and you will take the samples from the LM drum and load them into here, and you will take the samples from BMX and load it into your LM drum, I think that they will sound identical or almost identical. So to answer one of the most important questions here, is the BMX the same thing as the LM drum but with different color? And the answer, in my opinion, is almost. So like 98% of the features are the same. I just found one thing that can be controlled here that cannot be controlled on the LM drum, and this is the so-called local off mode, which is thought for playing using the BMX with a DAW, so it will deactivate the patterns or whatnot, so you don't have any interferences with the DAW, like sending MIDI data back and forth. Probably I wasn't able to test this yet, right now, until now. And on the LM drum, there's one setting that is not really important, that is not in the BMX. Other than that, all the preferences, all the menus, all the filters, all the settings are identical. Pads and buttons are all the same quality. Knobs as well, all the same quality. The sensitivity of this unit is not very great. So of these pads. So let me demonstrate this to you, right? See here, so I really have to grind the button. There is no like light touch. It just won't work. And you can set the sensitivity, even if I would put it to the most sensitive level. And if you go to menu and you go to trigger, not trigger assign, but I think it's options or preferences. Here, velocity threshold and velocity sensitive pad on, and then let's say put it all the way down. See, I'm touching this, nothing happened. I'm grinding it. It goes on. Now threshold. Let's put up the threshold to the max again. All right. So they are not really sensitive. Now, what's better on the BMX, and this would be better if not the issue with the sensitivity. The LM drum, due to its layout, it's terrible for finger drumming. If you take a closer look at this, you've got your snare at the left and the bass on the right. So if you want to drum, finger drum like you would do on a regular machine or an MPC, you have to cross your hands. And this looks weird and it just is no fun to play. Here, as you heard me on the beginning of the stream, this works better, right? So it is better for finger drumming than the LM drum, but with the pad sensitivity of the BMX, it's not really fun. You can play it, but it's not really fun. You know, if you've got a different groove box, something like an MPC or a Machina or a Roland MV1 or whatever, there is a huge difference, right? And not to an advantage of the BMX or the LM drum for that matter. But I even would say that, excuse me, let me switch to the pads here. Yeah, pads. It's much better. So I'm hitting softly and sometimes it will not trigger, but most times it will. And if I do this on the snare here, see? Nothing happens. Excuse me. You really have to put some force into it, and I hope they will kind of also fix this with a firmware, because I believe that they use the same technology here. There is no reason to make an entirely new technology to build a unit that looks almost exactly the same, right? And there's this unprecision with the sign voice controls, which is something that LM doesn't have, or it does have just one, right? And the way they work right now is not good. So would I advise you to buy this? If you already own a LM drum, then this is redundant because there is so much similarities and exactly the same workflow, probably 90% the same stuff on the inside, and they are pretty big. Both of them are pretty big, and if you have the space and you want to, different optics, then all right. But For me, it would be rather downgrade because again, the LEM drum has much more channels. Yeah, it has basically almost double the channels, and this is of course a huge advantage of the LM drum. And the LM drum is currently cheaper than the BMX, and it's available. So if you don't own an LM drum and think between the BMX and the LM drum, I would still advise you with the LM drum. However, there are a few things that are really cool about the BMX. I do like the optics of the BMX more. It has this sci-fi 80s style design, and also all the text are in, the labels are in white, which is better readable in lesser or worse lighting conditions. So I do like this, I do like the optics more. I do like the pad layout slightly more. The issue with the LM drum is here that you actually have 15 pads at your disposal. The one here is this switching your samples, because you basically have here more channels, but you have less pads, meaning that you have to switch back and forth. And for example, if you have here your clap, right, you can play it together with your ride. You can either play one or the other, and here you can do that. I'm not sure that you can play simultaneously. No, so you cannot place the shaker and claps here, so it's kind of quirk as well. Up in here, up in here. What's up, No Chill Records? Yeah. So there are also some limitations, right? You can play the shaker and the claps at the same time, the tambourine and the rimshot you cannot play at the same time, ride and crash. And then again, do you really need 3 velocity pads for your kick and snare? You have 2 here on the bass on the LM drum, which is already redundant for me, as they have pad sensitivity. So why would you do that? Because the old unit was able to do that, but it wasn't pad sensitive. I would understand if you would have like these knobs here, then okay, but all right. And the same with the snare. You got like 3 snares in here and 3 snares in here. It doesn't make any sense, especially if you not use it for finger drumming, but for step programming, which you would do 90% of the time, because again, finger drumming with both of them is kind of not good. Then you just hit the pad twice. You don't have any way to, change, switch to a different pad. You just had to push it twice in the step mode. I mean, like here, right? You cannot tell that I want to here to have my less more silent kick, and here my my loudest kick. You have just to do it like this, right? Hit the pad again and it starts blinking. So why wasting this? The same redundancy or the same issue with the LM drum with this tuning, right? Why not add the tuning knob for the kick? They added this later so you can actually change the pitch of every of your instruments with a data control knob. But I mean, I could live without the hi-hat decay. I would rather have the pitch for the kick drum. Here, there is no problem like this, because here you do have all your knobs, and you can, if you want to assign them to pitch, if you want to assign them to distortion, start or length, so basically everything that you see on here on the screen. So this is something that where the BMX excels. Right? It's something where the BMX is better than the LM drum. So it has a light advantage in the performance mode, but it has less channels. So kind of, you have to think about what's more important for you, having more channels or having more controls over less channels. It's up to you to decide. And for me, they're just too big to have two of them for me. I mean, the things that you just understand what size it is. It's wider than my MPC Live 3. Yeah. Don't believe me? I'm gonna show you. There goes my baby MPC Live 3. Right, here you go. As you see, it's wider. It's roughly the same depth, but it's wider than the effing Live 3, right? So if a desk space is an issue for you, think twice if you want this device or not. And also, I would not recommend you to buy it if this is your first drum machine or first groove box. And simply, excuse me, I need to drink something. Simply because for 370 euros or roughly $400 or for 10 British pounds, you can get something else. More powerful, more modern, right? For example, you can look up a used poly and play. I'm not sure about US, but in Europe, you get the poly and play, the first version of it, used for like 280 or 300 bucks. It crushes them both, right? It's not even a comparison, and it's not able to sample. You cannot sample with this, all right? So you can sample with these guys, but not with this. But you can load samples onto it, and this is like a whole different level, right? And it would cost less than the new one, than the new BMX. You could buy yourself a used Roland MV1, which has awesome sounds of all of your Roland drum machines, modern 808s, 909s. It has synthesis engine, or at least very good synth samples that sound great. It has onboard effects, has modern chopping functionality, so you sample a beat and will chop it up and lay it out on your pads straight away, right? And you can buy it used for like roughly 400 euros, maybe 350. Again, for 400 quid, you might get a used MPC-1 or MPC-1 Plus. And MPC-1 Plus, compared to these guys, sorry, but it's like a spaceship compared to, I don't know, a broken bicycle. Right, no offense. I love my LM drum to bits. And I'll tell you for what purposes I love and why I still keeping it is because I like this aesthetics, and when I work on some specific music genres, this just makes me feel better and therefore yield some results that won't be yielded otherwise. So for example, if I will work on a sci-fi synth pop track, something like Vangelis style, or cyberpunk, Blade Runner stuff, or 80s music, or gothic music, or excuse me, or techno, some kind of old school techno, acid techno. This thing slays. Now pair it up with a TB3 or a TR303, and you've got yourself a killer techno setup, right? It's great with all this performance stuff and blah. Awesome. So I love it for that, and I love it for sampling like the old school when I just want to relax and kind of meditate by sampling. Pull out my Technics SL MK 1200, right? Connect the phono amplifier to this and then sample some stuff and chop it up and destroy it. It's cool, and it's a cool lo-fi machine, right? It's just 12 bits, so don't expect some high-end results of it otherwise, right? You, wherever lands in this machine is not likely to, get improved, but rather destroyed. You don't have too many options. You have distortion, Bitcrusher, tune, and everything introduces some artifacts. And this might be cool for some musical genres and absolutely unusable for others. So that's something to keep in mind. But if you really want an old school drum machine, if you like this original sound, and it does sound like an original, so don't get me wrong, it's good, and for the money, it's great, right? This one sounds like a Lindrum. You've got enough videos where people compare the original units. You don't hear a damn difference. Probably the same here. So if you like the aesthetics and it will, push your creativity, then, go for it. It's a cool piece of gear. A lot of connectivity, performance tools, easy song building mode. Oh yeah, you can of course use this as a DAW controller, like for your pads. But again, the pads suck, so I wouldn't advise you to do that. But technically, it's working, right? And the other thing you can use it for is like almost a sequencer for a DAWless setup. You cannot send MIDI notes to to play on other synths. Unfortunately, that would be cool, but you can still use the trigger outputs to modulate the filters of your modular gear, for example, or to kick off a sequence on or an ARP on a synth that will play your patterns or arpeggios. This will work, and it will sync. So it will sync the BPM, both over CV and over MIDI, I think. So it will work like this. I also made a video about that. That's cool. It's fun, right? But the way I use it mostly is a hybrid setup. I use it with a DAW. Sometimes I use just the stereo output. Sometimes I use all the channels or just some channels. Sometimes it's a mix. If I want, like I demonstrated you here, I connect the snare to the single snare output and route it into the DAW, just all wet into a gated reverb, and now pull down the original snare from the master output here. So you got this 80s snare. Let me show you what I mean again. Maybe you forgot. So I'll connect this right now to the snare, and I will activate the delays and reverbs on my Cubase. Now, let's go back to pads, hit snare. And now it sounds weird. So you see the snare fader is completely down, but you still hear stuff because the fader doesn't affect the physical outputs. Alright, so let me refresh the page here and to look if we've got some questions. No new questions? Alright, cool. Now, as I said, so you can do this, or you could use both. Right. Sounds better with, more 80s. More 80s is better. Or you could simply connect your kick drum to a different module and control a bass synth, or what to trigger the sounds of the bass synth, right? You can take your tom outputs and connect them to a compressor and to a distortion or whatever. So I had a video where I was connecting a lot of guitar pedals to every single output, just to, show what is possible. And this is actually something that really puts at least the lamp drum apart from other drum machines. It's like 15 analog outputs, right? The MPC doesn't have that. You can hook up an MPC with an external audio interface and then it will kind of work, yeah, but from the get-go, it doesn't, right? Not every drum machine has a mixer. Some of them have, but I'm not aware of any other drum machine that would have like 15 or 16 faders. Mostly they have like 8, maybe 9. Some of them have 4. Yeah, so this is something to consider, right? And I think we actually covered everything. Let me look up my notes if there's something I forgot. Yeah, well, there are some hardware issues that I think will get fixed by the firmware. So now it's too early maybe, but eventually they'll get there. I hope so. Yeah, and of course the sound of its own without any processing is not really that exciting, but this is okay because on the original units it's the same. You don't hear actually the unprocessed version of your DMX on your 80s hits. They process it a lot. They run them into high-end preamps, use some compressors, great delays, and all this stuff, equalizers to make it pop, right? And you have to do it exactly the same. And of course, with more modern drum machines, you don't have that issue because you have like already mix-ready samples. You've got your FX, so with an MPC or with the Roland MB1 or with a Machine, you just get a production-ready sound straight out of the box, right? Whereas here you gonna make some processing. But it is also a fun part of it because you kind of learn how to work with it. With a drum machine like this, you kind of replicate the workflow that they used to have in the 80s, right? And then if you have some cool vintage plugins like from Universal Audio, from Arturia, which I do, for example, then it's kind of fun and it is pretty easy to achieve the same good studio results. All right, there's another question. So I see 7677 says, he asks if they include any SP1200 kits or just stick with DMX ones. They didn't include any SP1200 kits, but they included 7 kits in here. I already showed it at the beginning, and I'm not sure what that kits are, but you've got a BMX, then you have a BX. This might be maybe the DMX DX, the light version of it. Not sure what they mean by this. Then you've got R10, is it Yamaha? Not sure. R5, and then Latin samples, electro samples, and African samples. But no SP1200. I think they are working on a SP1200. But I wouldn't expect it to be released anytime soon, to be honest. So I hope it answers your question. But then again, it doesn't matter what samples they deliver in the factory because you've got a lot of banks. You can use up to 16 banks. So 7 are factory, or 8 are the factory banks here because the 8th is all defaults. But then you got your 8 banks and you can load any sample kit you want to have there. You want to have your SP1200, just load them in there over the Synthesizer software as soon as it will start working, of course. And then you've got your SP1200, right? If you want your 808s, and this was the very first thing that I did on the lamp drum, I put it on the bank 8. I put my 808 samples on the kit. On the bank 9, I put my 909 samples, of course, the very first thing. And by the way, this is by far my most popular short on the YouTube on my YouTube channel, is where I just play 808 sounds from the Limb drum, and somehow it got a lot of views and still being watched and commented a year later. You can do that, and it will play them. So this is a sampling drum machine, meaning you can use any sample you want to, right? All right, we're 2 hours in right now. I think it's time to say bye-bye. Thank you for joining. It was a ton of fun with you. Thanks for watching, and maybe let's play around a little bit. And if you have any questions, just ask, and otherwise I will just jam a bit and then we'll call it a day, right? Thanks for watching. Again, hit like and subscribe if you like this stream. I hope we reach 1,000. We just need 4 more followers, 4 more subscribers, excuse me, and then I'm at 1,000. Come on, guys, give me some love. Yeah. I hate that bass line, man. shout out to this world's neither hero. I answered this. They sound very similar, and if you load the same samples in there, so you got the same sound. But just watch the stream later, maybe, because we're wrapping up today. And thanks. Have a good one. Hit like and subscribe.